Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, esteemed attendees, leaders of the sector, pioneers of aviation, and welcome to Hangar Talks, the intellectual and knowledge heart of the General Aviation Airshow 2025, Sand and Fun. We commence our first day with a high-level discussion focusing on strategy, vision, and pivotal role of general aviation in achieving the goals of Saudi Vision 2030. As His Highness accustoms us, we begin this exceptional agenda with a word carrying the spirit of the founder and the leader. We ask His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, founder and board chairman of Saudi Aviation Club, to graciously proceed to the stage to share his keynote speech and present his vision on the transformation of general aviation into strategic force for growth after 25 years anniversary.
Good morning. I think we decided to speak in English, no? First of all, I want to warn you. You never want to clap for someone until you hear their speech. You might not like it. Thank you very much for this introduction. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Sultan bin Salman, the founder and chairman of the board of the Saudi Aviation Club and of Tayran College, which is an addition to us. Right. Thank you. And today is a special day for me personally and a special day for aviation in Saudi Arabia, especially general aviation. I see many friends that not only came from their countries, came from my past. Many people who I very much appreciate and make life for me wonderful to have them at least once a year here. Like I did last year, I want to introduce a very special person that have done me a great favor when we flew in the space shuttle. J.O. Creighton, he was the co-commander on the space shuttle in 1985. Can you stand up? And turn around. We were competing for who's the best looking person in the space shuttle mission. He won number one. J.O., can you turn around? People can see you. And of course, many people here that I've flown with, sit down, that I've flown with all my life and I've worked with all my life. The other person also I want to introduce you to is the person that sold me my very first airplane in 1978. Mr. Brad Wallen. You need to stand up if you can. Turn around. Brad still selling and buying airplanes. I still work with him on projects. And I keep telling people he runs the most crooked operation in the United States. That's why I come back to him all the time. Today you'll hear from Robert Johnston. Robert has lived in Saudi for 40 years or something like that, selling Boeing airplanes. And loved being in Saudi for all these years, so he came back to tell his story, living in Saudi and living among the Saudi people, like everyone who comes to this country. Another person that I flew with, we basically took somebody's airplane for a short trip and kept it for 45 days. And that's Captain Tahir Alam. Turn around. Turn around so people can see you. Now, if you don't mind, Tahir, I know you're going to speak about this later. Tahir was much better looking than he is now, by the way, at that time. Back 111, we borrowed from Mr. Hariri, and when we landed in Geneva, I said, are you going back to Saudi tomorrow? He said, my instructions is to go back whenever you tell me to do so. You never want to do that to a pilot. So we kept the airplane for 46 days, paid for. Tahir was supposed to be here last year. and couldn't. He got ill, very, very ill. He lived with me in my farm in Riyadh. And two wonderful people showed up. Where are they? His kids. His two children, wonderful children. I want you to bring you here behind your father. Keep an eye on him, okay? And one of them works for the EU, and the other one goes to university. They're from Pakistan, a very dear country to my heart. And we sent him back to Pakistan, basically, no hope. Captain Tahir today, on his own, he got some medication in the hospital here, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. He's back here, and this is a heartwarming thing for me, back here to tell his story. He walks 8 kilometers a day. He's having fun in life, and he wants to go back to flying again, believe it or not. That's what being a pilot is about. Determination. And when you have determination, and by the way, when we flew the trip, Mano was with us, our mechanic here at that time. I saw him fix an engine overnight in Wyoming in freezing weather. I need also to introduce a person dear to my heart. I hate to say, when he stands up, I'm going to say it. Mr. Ken Hoffman, stand up, Ken, please, if you can. So while you're standing, can you, Ken actually taught me how to fly. Ken and I, we've been together since 1979. And I learned everything from flying, about flying with Ken. Every time I introduce him, I say, Ken taught me how to fly. He says, not yet. So I think not yet is appropriate. But I'm flying now. I'm very proud to have, at that time, from that time onwards, to have flown in the space shuttle, to join the Air Force, been in the Gulf War. I'm very appreciative today to have also General Prince Turki bin Bandar, a longtime friend, who's head of the Saudi Air Force. Every time I say the Saudi Air Force, people talk about the F-35. So we'll see. Today, the Saudi Air Force is displayed full-fledged. Unfortunately, the Saudi Falcons, who flew last year, cannot be here this year because they are buying new airplanes, their new colors, and complete development. So they will be here next year, inshallah. I see many people today that I'm very proud to be with, and I'm very proud to have flown with and to fly with, and to restore airplanes with, and to have a lifetime with. Captain Ahmed Al-Nadi was the head of the CAA school. He's an Egyptian, and Egypt have produced people like him, a lot of people like him. We owe them a lot in Saudi because they were our teachers, and he ended up being the head of the school where I got my BBJ type rating some years ago, and then built another 4,000 hours as a captain on the BBJ. Today is a great day because all of Saudi Arabia is participating. If you see the list, of government organizations, government funding, sponsors, it's absolutely mind-blowing. And I hope they can put out the list. Well, since you put the picture, they told me they put the picture when I mentioned the book. So this is the new book. It's taken a bit more time than we expected because we keep running into people that have a story to tell and a lifetime worth of aviation. So this is the new book that will come out soon. And if you want a copy, you have to register. We'll send it to you. The money from the book goes to the disabled children and to the Heritage Foundation. So it's not going back to me. I wish it would, so I can buy another airplane yet. But the book talks about life on wings. And this is a very important point. When you're a pilot, your life is not about flying an airplane. Your life is about soaring through life. For me, airplanes are a passion. I began to feel that some of the passions I have, like steep skiing. Ken Weaver is a good friend of mine. Can you ski again, Ken, now or not? can stand up if you want. Ken is a lifetime friend. We ski together. And Mr. Ken Allen has been with me for, Ken, if you have seen it all, Ken, flying and ditching and another person I want to recognize also, Captain Parviz Iqbal. Parviz, he's the man who he's the man who brought all the Pakistani pilot mafia to Saudi Arabia, including Captain Tahir. And he's still flying at 80, what? 82? I bring all these people so I look very young next to them. That's the purpose. But this book is about life as an aviator, not a pilot. I am not a pilot, I'm an aviator. That's a much bigger title when you live the passion, when you become very technical, when it becomes a job like I did at the Air Force, when it becomes a part of your total life, even with your family, with your children, grandchildren, and the collection of friends and people and places you go to cannot be done flying on an airline. It only can be done flying small planes, like we do, go to Alaska, we do that, and we do a lot of crazy things that should be prohibited by law, but we fly everywhere. And I'm glad to see, and I'm very proud to see the Saudi Aviation Club took time. We started with one pilot who's standing right in front of you right now. And then we tried to convince just about everyone who would listen to us the importance of flying over this absolutely beautiful country and seeing it from the air and visiting its places. Today, I'm the proud chairman of the Saudi Aviation Club. It's an election, believe it or not, in a monarchy. But I'm very proud. Ahmed is going to stand up for us also. Ahmed was a very, very super minister in the Saudi government, and I've known him for many, many years, all my life, and he's a pilot. As well as the Minister of Health in Saudi Arabia is also a pilot. But people are so busy these days, they don't have time to fly too much. His Excellency Ahmed came from the vocational training organization in Saudi and literally put the blocks for a major revolution to train Saudis to do everything, men and women, including mechanics, airplane mechanics, and all kinds of things. Now we invited him to join us as the man that runs basically the Saudi Aviation Club, the Sand and Fun. My job is really, I look sort of like I've done everything, but that's not the truth. These guys and the ladies with them have really done the big job, seriously. So general aviation in Saudi is now part of the National Future Master Plan. We worked on it with the Civil Aviation Board, and they're all going to be here today for the opening. It's part of the law in Saudi Arabia. You can fly general aviation. You're recognized as a complete major sector in the Saudi economy and the Saudi future. So, helicopter. So that's probably the head of the Air Force coming in the helicopter. So as general aviators, I'm a business aviator and a general aviation also participant. Of course, I tell people I've never really jumped from an airplane, parachuting, although we do that in the club, and we have many people who are jumpers and so on. I remember Ken telling me a lot of things. I sort of believe half of those, and the other half is basically just hot air coming out. When I told Ken, do you ever want to jump out of an airplane? He said, why would you want to jump out of a perfectly working airplane? If you're a pilot and you learn to fly, so we always, as pilots, say, people who can't fly, jump out. Those are the parachutists. Today, we have a full program. Of course, we have the opening, very ceremonial. We all have to, as government officials, we have to wear the black bisht. This is the color of the day. Every day, the bisht is the thing we wear on top, has a color. Friday is white, and so on, so on. Tuesday is black in the hot sun. Also, we have lots of things happening this year. Food court, a very big food court that we would enjoy maybe later on. Of course, the air show, and you see the Typhoon, the F-15. All government organizations are participating today, everyone. And we look forward to a night of a major air show tonight. Tomorrow we have the gala night for the participants and the guests. Inshallah, it will be very special and very different, and so on. So if you have anything as our guest, for instance, I know you went to the boulevard yesterday, so you're probably worn out, but hopefully this is going to be the same. I want to thank you all for showing up. Like I said, the book is not going to be about airplanes only. It's going to be about life and the coincidences. One of those coincidences, to tell you how this book is not being finished, because there's more than 60 or 70 interviews that has been done either by Zoom or by in person. I'm standing today, and a gentleman from the Saudi Air Force, who was an ex-F-15 pilot, the head of the squadron in Taif in the mountains. And I kept my plane in Taif in a hangar. As ex-Air Force at that time, they let me keep my glider in the hangar. And the head of the base who is now the head of the Saudi military, basically, the chief of staff. Very nice man. We flew together in the Gulf War, in Dahran, in the late 90s. So the gentleman comes and shakes hand, and then we do the kind of salute. He used to salute me before. Now I salute him, basically. And he said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "No." This is like 25 years ago. And he said, "You came to Taif, and you asked the base commander to fly with you in the glider in the mountains." And he said, no, I don't want to do that, but I'll order one of my pilots to fly with you. And he brought the commander of the F-15 squadron, which is still there, to sit with me. He just reminded me, I didn't tell him I was going to shut down the engine. So we flew, and as soon as we took off, Taif is high altitude, and basically I got lift. There is lift and so on for the glider. So shut down the engine, pulled the engine inside, and he stood up literally on his seat like that. So tense, because F-15s, you push and you have 2 engines, they can just... So he said, "Any problem with the engine?" He said, no, we're just going to go to the mountains and enjoy flying, gliding, right next to the mountains, to pick up the lift right next to the mountains. So he said this is an experience he never imagined. So he's now being interviewed today for the book. The book project has a lot of stories, and it's going to be open for people that can add more stories. So I'm very glad that this is the cover of an airplane that I flew with a very dear friend, Captain Sabah al-Mazrouh. Captain Sabah and I have been flying for more than 25 years. And I used the pencil thing when Ken used to hit my finger when I did something wrong, so I do it with him. When we go with King Salman, I used to fly him on the plane. And when we go in the weather for landing is not this, I tell Sabah to go ahead and do the landing. And he had the landing one time, which is... So this is the kind of community we are. Now I come to the people who want to fly but sort of thinking about it. Mish'al al-Sudairi, for instance, who comes here with 10 Egyptian pilots, is a story about the age of 50, the guy gets into it, drops the motorcycle thing that he used to do around the world. I told him, go fly it. He said, well, maybe the age. I said, not about the age. He's a big guy too. He finished a trip around the world, solo, in his Diamond, this last year. You have to be proud of people like that. So no matter how old you are, whatever you are, man or woman, you need to try this at least one time. You can be told, and you also will know whether this is for you or not. If you're like a one-dimensional person, don't come near an airplane. Now I'm also happy to announce that the government now began to give us scholarships. Training to cockpit, training people in Tayaran. It's a college. We have here started with Aramco, where we train guys and men and women to go straight to airlines. And the secret also, they graduate with a license that has an instructor's license part of it. So airlines are gobbling up graduates, and Saudi Arabia is expanding hugely. You know, with Riyadh Air, I'm not sure you've heard about it or seen it. And of course, Saudi is going through leaps and leaps of buying new airplanes and new equipment. So the need for pilots, mechanics, cabin, crews, the people I'm proud of, air traffic controllers, and so on. The aviation industry is a huge part of Saudi Arabia's economy. And general aviation is here to stay and here to go for the future, inshallah. Thank you very much for being here. And
now we will discuss how this air show helps boost the